Alright then, YouTube people, Ray Dreams here, and yeah, for this one, first of all I'd like to begin this video just by saying a big thank you for all of the support on the golden ticket video I did. We just literally hit, it literally spiked for views, went up from like 100 and, I think it's 126 or something like that, now just shy of 600 views on that. So again, thank you guys so much. While I have your attention of it, why not hit that subscribe button if you are new? Keeps you updated on when I upload and stuff like that, and I'm hopefully going to start live streaming soon. Yeah, so as we all know, there's the new Brawl mode, I guess you could call it. It's called Onslaught, which looks really good at the minute. I might actually give it a go, see what it's saying. Has anybody else tried it? Any heroes anybody recommends trying? So yeah, let's jump straight into it, and we're here for the hero balancing. Now, a lot of them, I do agree with, I like the fact is that they change it up each time so more heroes become relevant. I find it very annoying. If you want to try a new hero or something like that, you can in casual, but in ranked, no, there's no point. Just stick with what the meta was. But yeah, Koshka has been buffed. I mean, if anybody of you know that I play, not sounding too big-headed, but I play a pretty good Koshka game. Now that she's been buffed, well, this is going to be fun. But yeah, so before we get into that, let's start. We're going to go through it in alphabetical order. So we have Alpha. It's great to finally see more Alpha play, but with the new Dragon's Eye, Infinite Reboot is reaching some pretty crazy numbers. In addition, the increased energy regen on some items meant players were hitting the cap a bit easier than intended. This change is to ensure the enemy team has a fair chance to stop her reboot. So basically what they've done is here, is her Infinite Reboot, the minimum reboot time is increased from 2 seconds to 2.5. And now her, as well as Prime Directive, has had a bit of a nerf. I know they like to call it fine tuning, but it's a nerf. Is crystal ratio reduced from 200% to 180%. Crystal ratio per stack reduced from 40 to 30%. It gives an additional 0.5 seconds to kill Alpha off, which, to be fair, as long as all three of you are there and you got yourself a good few damage items, you can take her out quite quickly anyway. But with the crystal ratio and the stack reduced, it's going to make her less of a blood. You got to be a bit more choosy on the fights you pick now. Not too much, because they're space facts, it's Alpha. Right, so moving on, we now have ARDAN. ARDAN has been a top pick for the past few updates, especially with the new health changes. Which I have to admit, I have played ARDAN and he stays alive quite well. While we love the plays that were made, the Echo and Gauntlet combo was unhealthy for the game on a number of levels. Now personally, I've never actually seen it in game, I've never had it done to me or anything like that. So it was quite new for me to find this out. I was thinking, and now obviously we can't do it, so that's a bit annoying. First, while seeing the Venn diagram was really cool. The possibility of as many as four gauntlets on the screen at once in a casual mode could explode low-end devices. Really? That's the reason? Has anybody actually had any, explosions from the low-end devices? I think they're exaggerating that, but I think they mean like bugging out and stuff like that. But second, in terms of gameplay, carving up a teamfight into tiny safe areas was oppressive, and there's no amount of reflex blocks that could keep the experience from feeling terrible for other players. These changes, I can understand that. These changes will lower his durability. In addition, we have lowered the damage that support ARDAN deals while dusting off his old weapon build. Okay, so his health has been reduced from 875-2,738 to 838 to 2,638. Okay, so his health's been, that's a bit annoying. But yeah, blood for blood, so I'm thinking they're trying to make him more damagey and a little bit more squishy, I'm thinking. But blood for blood, increased bonus damage percent from 25% to 40%. But damage is reduced from 40, 90, 140, 190, 240 to 40, 80, 120, 160, 200. Bonus damage is increased, but the damage is reduced. Okay. So Gauntlet. Activating Gauntlet while another Gauntlet is on the map will immediately remove the older Gauntlet. This specifically addresses the double gauntlet interaction with Echo, which introduced unintended confusion and a great deal of stress on device performance. Not the fact is that would just be really annoying to deal with. Really annoying. But yeah, so now we're going to move on to Baron. It's great to see more Crystal Baron, but he was dealing too much damage. I can understand this. If you ever play Blitz mode and you get his Endless Mortars perk, which I believe is his epic one, you get like 8 shots. I know it's the crystal damage is reduced, but 8 shots. Oh, I mean, literally, I played him just for the fun of it, and just you melt, honestly. So Porcupine Mortars, crystal ratio reduced from 190% to 170%, and the Ion Cannon cooldown reduced from 90, 75, 60 to 80, 65, 50. Okay, so he's looking pretty good. And now obviously we're going to move on to Baptiste. I never pronounce it right, but anyway. Baps, as I like to call him, was benefiting greatly from the new clockwork. This change reduces how much he can spam Ordain. So its cooldown is increased from 16, 15, 14, 13, 12 to 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. So it just adds an extra second on to what it was before. That's fine. Black Feather. Now Black Feather's durability was a touch too high. Health ratio down from 13% to 12%. But I am wondering, the Serpent's Mask with the damage increase to it, I reckon he's still going to be pretty good. And now Celeste. Celeste has enjoyed the new item energy changes greatly. While it's fun that she's able to use her abilities more freely, the impact her supernova had was not proportional to its availability. It says supernova crystal ratio reduced from 220% to 200%. So that's a 20% drop. Wow. And now Flicker. This change will allow for Flicker's players to cloak their team much more quickly. So Mooncloak, time before stealth duration is reduced from 1.2 to 0.8. Yeah, that's going to make it a lot easier. It's literally boom, and then they're invisible. Brilliant. Now Glaive, a change that returns more of Glaive's built-in tankiness, so his health has been increased. I think they're trying to bring back him as a support, because I can't remember which update it was. I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comment section, please. But whichever update it was, Glaive, he was viable, he was usable as a tank and captain support and all that. So his health is increased from 784 to 2,453 to 834 to 2,503. So yeah, so he's a little bit more tankier than what he was. So that should bring him back a little bit. Now Grace needed a slight buff to bring her more in line with other captains. So she has an increased armor and shield from 20 to 60 to 20 to 70. Okay. And Benediction, Holy Shield damage reduction increased from 30% to 40%. And Holy Nova's energy cost is reduced from 125 to 100. Right, so now moving on, this is what I have been excited for, is Idris. Now, Idris is a carry who suffered greatly. Now, I do agree with that. I found him, he just wasn't Idris anymore, if that makes sense. Yeah, so these buffs will allow him to deal damage that he needs to. So that's a pretty big increase, wow. Okay, so Divergent Paths. So now the crystal ratio is coming back. Because I remember when he first came out, it was very viable to have him as crystal powers. Oh, brilliant. But crystal ratio increased from 90% to 100%. Not bad. Now the Shroud Step. Damage amp increased from 10, 15, 20, 25, 35% to 25, 30, 35, 40 and 50%. That is a huge buff, really. Let's say that is a big old buff. And now we've got Joel. Either way, Crystal Path has been updated. So Thunderstrike is the crystal ratio increased from 135% to 160. And the big red button now. Crystal ratio increased from 300% to 350%. I can understand this. Whenever you see her, it is always weapon power, never crystal power. A little bit disappointing there. And then we have Koshka. A little bit of love for everyone's favourite cat. Again, personally, Koshka's just OP early game, and I generally seem to have a lot of fun and get a good few amount of kills late game as well. As long as they don't focus all of their attacks on me, I can dip in, dip out. Perfect. And plus her stun, mwah, perfect. Right, so Pouncy Fun damage is increased from 75, 130, 185, 240 and 350 to 80, 140, 200, 260, 380. Perfect. Twirly Death. Crystal ratio increased from 80% to 90%. Now I don't know, I did hear before during the dev stream that it was for second and third part of the Twirly Death. Just like when you spin and then you standard attack and it does bonus crystal, that's it, bonus crystal damage. But I don't know what. Okay, crystal ratio increased from 80 to 90%, so I don't know now. It seems to contradict themselves a little bit, but yeah, we're just going to move on from that one. And now we got Cruel. The changes to Shiva Steel and Spell Sword allowed Cruel to feast on his enemies. Oh, Spectral Smite. Damage per stack reduced from 20, 35, 50, 65, 95 to 20, 30, 40, 50, and 70. Wow. Okay, that's a bit of a nerf there for old Cruel. Oh well. So we've got LORELAI. Had best of both worlds, so we made changes to differentiate her support and carry paths by adding health scaling to her stun, slow and shield. We also lowered her base damages but increased ratios. So what do these changes mean? If you play LORELAI as a captain, you'll be rewarded with stronger crowd control by having more health in your build. In fact, if you hit about 1,500 bonus health, you will hit the cap on her A and B skills. On the flip side, those who play her as a carry will have less crowd control at their disposal, but will deal greater damage with crystal items. Makes sense to me. So that's swell. Crystal ratio on basic attacks increased from 60 to 70%. We have Fish Food. Stun duration reduced from 1 second to 0.45 seconds. The health ratio added to stun duration of 0.03% bonus health. Cooldown increased from 10, 95, 9, 8.5 to 12, 11.5, 11, 10.5 and 10. Damage per second decreased from 50, 105, 155, 205, 305 to 55, 95, 35, 175 to 255. Crystal ratio on damage per second increased from 90% to 110. Oh, she has a lot of updates on Twitter. And now Splashdown. Cooldown increased from 7.57, 6.5, 6 and 5 to 8 to 8, 7.5, 6, 6.5, 5.5. Slowdown decreased from 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 to 25%. Health ratio added to slow of 0.017% of LORELAI's bonus health, which is capped off at 50%. And then we have Water Wall, added health ratio of 15%. Needs 1,333 to return to full strength. Barrier reduced from 500, 750, 1,000 to 400, 600 and 800. Crystal ratio has been reduced from 150% to 100%. Lyra. Lyra has been a top pick because of her incredible kit since her release. These changes lower her overwhelming power as a captain and give a bit of love to her carry path. Okay, I'm feeling that. Principal Arc. We'll leave it there. Principal Arc. Crystal ratio on initial base attack increased from 50% to 60%. Imperial Sigil. Burst heal reduced from 60% to 50%. Speed boost reduced from 2.0 to 1.5. Health ratio reduced from 13% to 11%. And now Rhyme. Now Rhyme has been OP for quite some time. While we did tone down Rhymes quite a lot, we tuned a bit extra for safety's sake. This is to give him back a little power, mainly in the areas that make him the intended crystal bruiser he is, and not a super burst bruiser. So we've got Frost Guard. Crystal ratio increased from 70% to 80%. Max health fortified health increased from 20% to 25%. Damage to fortified health increased from 25% to 30%. Okay, yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm liking that. And now Ringo. Ringo had fallen on hard times as of late. These changes will help increase his early game as well as help him maintain in late game. I have to admit Ringo has been very slacking. So they've increased the base weapon power from 66 to 130 to 71 and 130. Increased range from 6 to 6.2. Okay, that extra 0.2 could help. I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. Rona. Rona was a berserking powerhouse. Very annoying. And with the new buff to Serpent's Mask, she was going to get even stronger. These changes to Red Mist account for that. So in other words, they've increased Serpent's Mask, but they've had to obviously decrease Rona, because otherwise, I mean, her sustain at the minute is big anyway. And during this update, it's just sort of knocked her down a little. So the cooldown is increased from 4 to 6. The weapon ratio is reduced from 175 to 160. And fortified health per level from 60, 100, 140 to 60, 95, 130. Samuel's overdrive was oftentimes considered more of a negative than a positive. This change will help fix that, as well as give a bit more damage to the malicious spellslinger. Malice and Verdict. Crystal ratio increased from 100% to 105. Crystal ratio on an empowered A ability increased from 150 to 120. Now the Drifting Dark has removed bonus move speed on overdrive. Distance travel changed from 14, 18, 22, 26, 34 to 14, 18, 22, 26, and 30. And now Saw. Saw is finally back in the competitive scene and doing great, but his abilities were doing too much damage. This change will stop Saw from melting enemy carries. Good. Good, he needed it. Suppressing fire, damage changed from 120, 180, 240, 300, 480 to 120, 170, 220, 270, 370. And we have Sky. More love for Weapon Sky. Right, so weapon ratio is increased from 70% to 90%. Again, I still don't know if she's actually going to be that fight. I still think she's awesome as CP, let's face it. But at least, you know, you can change it up a little, keep the enemy team guessing. And you got Vox. It's been a while since Vox's Crystal Path has seen any play. These tune-ups will help raise the beam. Unfortunately, I wasn't here when Vox was released or anything like that. I need to find out what update was it I started. I think it was 1.9, 1.8, I think. I'm not 100%. But yeah, I'll find out about that. Julia's Song. Crystal ratio increased from 90% to 100%. Pulse. Damage increased from 20, 40, 60, 80, 120 to 20, 45, 70, 95 and 145. I believe I am going to have to end this video here because it has gone on for a little bit long. Stay tuned, I'll be doing the item balance one, as well as doing a few other little videos and stuff that I want to try out. The Onslaught mode, Vira gameplay done. I really want to try out Idris to see if he is back as Crystal. To be fair, I think he's going to be back as Crystal. And with the Serpent's Mask added on to Black Feather, even though he has had that nerf, with that increased weapon power, yeah, he's going to be doing a bit more damage to you guys, as well as sustaining himself. Don't forget to leave a like, guys, comment, subscribe if you're brand new, and yeah. See you in the next one.